What's going on, party people? It is your boy Coop, and oh my god, this new trailer reveal looks so sexy, okay? From Bungie, what we're used to is it's like going on a Tinder date, and every time you show up, like, they have the picture, you know, they're taken from above their head, so you can't really see what they look like, and they have their age as like 29 or something, or if you're younger, I guess. I don't know, how old can you be to use Tinder? I don't know. I don't use Tinder. This is just an example. Point is, you get there, and it's not that person, you know? If you're a guy, you were trying to meet some nice lady, and as it turns out, this lady's like 90 years old, like her boobs are tucked into her pants because they're just hanging down so low, you know? Or if you're a chick, you show up, you saw a guy with a six-pack or something, and really, this dude weighs like 300 pounds, like his belly is hanging out of his shirt, his belly button's exposed, there's a Cheeto sticking out of it, there's dandruff all over the sweater vest he's wearing, and his mom is there to like chaperone the whole deal. Okay, that's what really happens, and that's what Bungie reveals have been like in the past. This time, this was not like this. This time, Halle Berry showed up, okay? This time, Brad Pitt, if you're a lady, she showed up. Or if you dislike Brad Pitt, I don't know. Anyways, that's who showed up for this reveal. I've always thought The Fallen would be kind of a shitty DLC, because The Fallen just aren't that cool, dude. Like, imagine being a Dreg, dude. They look like these little skinny emo kids with little mohawks. They're like the kind of people who would like throw a Molotov cocktail off of a bridge just because they're a-holes. That's what the Dregs are like. They're just not, compared to the Hive or any of these other ones, they're not scary, they're not bad, they're not evil enough. So guys, that is not what we got this time. We got the hottie with the body. So we are going to arrive on the Tangled Shore. It's going to be our first destination, and apparently all this is a culmination of everything we've been asking for. So I really hope that's true, and it looks to be quite true. It's supposed to have a Western vibe, and it starts with the prison break. And the prison is the one that Cade filled. So if you follow the lore from D1, you will know that Cade was filling up the prison of elders. Anyways, so you go to the Tangled Shore. It's going to be the first destination, and this is supposed to be reef asteroids latched together. That's going to be full of pirates and murderers and thieves and just the worst of the worst, and plus a new enemy type called Scorn. And Scorn is just, that's an epic name. I'm glad they're using this darker, it seems like they're going with the darker vibe here with a Fallen, and I really like this. And if you see what these guys look like, they have these flaming like pots of lava, and they're, you know, got these like Dark Souls style just grotesqueness to them with these helmets. It looks very like medieval fantasy. Super awesome. Like, not like pirates, like basically the Fallen are like Captain Hook, dude. Like, I feel like Peter Pan would be fighting the Fallen. But these are not, dude. Peter Pan is, you know, he's taking the Lost Boys. He's staying in Neverland. He is never going near these pirates, because those would be giving you nightmares. This is a darker take on this, and I think it's completely awesome. Plus, they have new mechanics, so they're always charging you, or at least according to the devs, they're charged at you. They attack, like kind of like a suicide bomber in some other games, where they just like run at you and try to blow themselves up. Sort of like that. So it's going to be cool to have a new enemy type that actually just charges you, as opposed to, you know, if you shoot one of the ogres in the nutsack like 30 times, they finally get enraged and they'll kind of stomp at you, but you can easily kill them. This is going to be different. These are going to be more like a high speed type thing, and those kind of enemies are awesome to have in a game, because it creates a sort of diversity. You got to actually think in a more strategic way if you don't have enemies that are just going to pop behind cover, pop their head out. Every time you aim at them, they go hide again. It's just real stupid. So I'm glad to see that they are mixing this up in a really, really cool way. Also, there's going to be barons, and these are supposed to be, according to them, quote-unquote, the top dogs. So these are bosses, and you'll have these actually have baron hunts where you're going out and trying to get these barons, which sounds completely epic. And the way these guys look is, these guys are supposed to be, you know, mass murderers. These are like the Ed Geins, or the Black Dahlia. Is it Black Dahlia? I don't remember that one, but they made a bunch of movies about it. Anyways, this guy is, you know, the ultimate serial killer, worst person in the universe that you're going after, and that creates a totally cool new thing. Because in D1, you're going to kill Fallen, but it just seems like, why? Like, they're not doing anything. They look like they're just there trying to eat some ether, you know, have a bowl full of mosquitoes. They're just trying to live their life being gross. These guys actually seem like they are a threat to us, and it makes sense. Like, they are hurting other people. And also following up on some of those new mechanics. So if they say if you have like a baron with a sniper rifle, you'll have to have a sniper rifle battle against him. Or the melee ones, who's just like this big oafy baron who I guess you have a melee battle with. And that's really cool, because that's been missing from Destiny. You know, here's how it goes in Destiny. You set up a rally barricade, you crouch behind it, you just teabag the ground, then stand up, shoot your rocket, and do that over and over and over. There's no real cool strategy involved in almost anything except for the raids, and I'm glad to see that they're bringing some of that in with this new kind of mechanics for fighting bosses, as well as new mechanics for enemies. Those are cool things that Destiny has 100% been needing, guys. Let's be honest here. You got to spice up the sex life. So also, you're going to have a new weapon system. This is the next section that they got into, was the new weapon system. And they said this: if you like the way D1 was, you can use that system. If you like the way D2 was, you can use that system. And then the big shabuski, I don't know what word that is you're supposed to say, like the big shalushki, the big enchilada maybe. You can have 3 shotguns if you want. What? Wow, Mom. Wow, 3 shotguns. That means you can really have 3 of anything. I'm assuming that heavy weapon slot will still be for heavy weapons, right? And then you can interchange whatever weapon you want in the first 2 slots. But they talk about a lot of interesting things that could rise out of this. So you go into a raid and all you got is like 3 rocket launchers. Maybe that seems good, but you don't have ammo. You never have ammo for these weapons. So that's going to be something you have to think about, is ammo conservation. Again, a new level of strategy by giving us more choices, instead of like this game was kind of turning into like a communist country, dude. Like everyone's just telling everyone what they have to do. It got to be equal across the board. We don't want it to be so someone can be better than the other one. Like they had to make all these choices for us. This is a great, I mean, it's not, these aren't like steps like we've been seeing, like these little tiny, it's like they were taking steps in the right direction, but they were like with baby feet, dude. Like, and then they would fall on their face like every second step. So we weren't making any forward progress. This feels like, dude, they got LeBron James to run as fast as he can and jump off a fucking mountain, and wherever he landed, that's how far forward we're going. These are huge, awesome, big strides forward. This is going beyond, I think, where Destiny 1 was at, actually. In a lot of these areas, I don't know, I haven't played the whole thing, so I don't know, I haven't played any of it. But from what I've seen, and then what they're saying, this looks like it's beyond where Destiny 1 left off. And I'm pretty excited about this weapon systems. So they also said that random rolls will return. Praise baby Jesus. Everyone pause the video and praise baby Jesus for at least, 25 to 30 seconds, whatever you feel like is appropriate, and then push play again. Okay, I hope everyone's done with that. So random rolls will return. Also, there's going to be a new mod system to customize your weapons the way you want. Oh my god, pause it again. One more praise to baby Jesus, and then we'll come back. So guys, the way you want is awesome, because imagine you spent like all that time in D1, I know I did, trying to get the perfect god roll, and you would have one slot that was off. So imagine if you could fix just one slot with a mod. You still had to grind to get almost the right roll, but you could get that. You could usually get that one. About 90% of us could get close to the perfect roll, but we'd be off by one mod spot, just depending on what it is. And now you can actually fix that. That's what this sounds like to me. And they also, dude, this is sick. A new masterwork system that can make your that you can move up your weapons over time. That sounds extremely interesting, and they describe this as an investment back into your weapons. So a system that you can move up over time your weapons. So that sounds like the masterwork system will be more progressive. So let's say you use it and you kill like a certain amount of enemies or something, and that, you can pick a stat you want to upgrade, say range, and you can keep using that weapon and maybe upgrade the stability until you have this god tier, Uriel's gift or whatever it is, whatever weapon you like. And that is so awesome, because that gives the player more choice to use the weapons he likes, to make, maybe if it's a weapon that isn't the meta, but you want to make that weapon good enough to be competitive. It sounds like that could be an opportunity to do that. And I really just can't believe they're doing all this. It's kind of crazy to me, because all this sounds too good. It's beyond what people asked for, to be honest. It's not just like, hey, let's throw it back how D1 was. They were like, let's take a big dump on D1 and go right on past it. Well, maybe that's a bad way to explain that. In fact, I'm sure it was. Anyways, moving on. We have new super dupers. Okay, guys. Yes, and there's a duper at the end of that super for a reason, because these are super dupers. You have fire knives for the hunter, which is they described as a take on the golden gun. So basically, you pull out this like Chinese lady like fan, you know, like the geishas use, and you just like throw it at everybody, and I guess they die. I guess they get stuck. I'm assuming that's what the fire knives would be doing. But the Titan, bro, he got this epic like Rise of Iron hammer, dude. He's just smoking losers left and right. That looks 100% insane, dude. And that's not the end of it. It spawns a freaking tornado, dude. And yes, I just said frickin', so if you want to type, I'm a total fucking nerd in the comment, go ahead and do that, because if you say frickin', you know, you shouldn't be talking to people if you're going to use the word frickin', and I just did that. So, guys, a tornado. He spawns a flaming tornado. So you hit it on the ground, a giant tidal wave of fire goes forward, and a flaming tornado rises up from the ground and smoke checks everybody. That is probably one of the coolest super things I have ever heard of. Now, they did talk about, they didn't show it, but they talked about the Void Warlock, how he has this teleport. They described it as kind of an anime style thing where you're just like, pew, 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 you know, back and forth, like, and then you just blow up at the end or something. I don't know exactly how it works, but it sounds pretty cool. Anyways, there's also a Arc Warlock that shoots like this huge beam, and they actually said this one may be game breaking, because it showed him just like melting one of these bosses in the end of some strike, and it was just shooting this gigantic beam, arc beam out. So what's awesome about this, guys, is it looks like we're getting an upgrade to every subclass. So that means 3 new supers per character. So you guys go ahead and do the math on that. That is 9 new supers in the game, which is awesome. And that's a cool thing to do because they weren't probably ready to add a new elemental type, which I'm assuming will happen in D3. But they also, guys, while we're talking about epic awesome things, they also added a freaking compound bow, dude. And if you're a hunter, you recognize the bow they got in this game. This is a compound bow, and it looks totally sick. And they were talking about, why would you use a bow instead of a machine gun? Well, let me tell you, for one, if you use a machine gun on a deer, it's going to be full of lead. It's going to ruin that meat, and you're going to be chewing on it. Now, if you're talking about in this game, why would you do that? Well, apparently this bow, the way to describe it, is a one-shot kill. It's kind of like a sniper or something. You know, they're shooting you with the Uriel's Gift, which takes exactly 725,000 rounds to kill someone, whereas this takes 1 arrow. So they have a long range, a medium range, and a short range bow is the way they describe these, and they say you feel like a god using it, and it does look pretty nasty, dude. Like, this is like some cowboy and Indian stuff, and I just think it looks completely sick, dude. To add a bow into this game, like, that's awesome. It totally fits in the universe too. It seems like something you would have after the collapse of humanity. Like, some technologies would go to the past, and people are still using bows today, so I'm just saying. Anyways, then we have the new game mode, Gambit. I don't even know what to say about this except for, dude, these are the type of things that people have been pissed off that aren't being added to the game. We want new, cool things, and Gambit, this looks completely amazing. So from what they showed and what they talked about, this looks like a 4v4. Maybe there's another mode we can add more people, but the mode they showed was 4v4, and you're in 2 separate arenas, okay? And basically, you're fighting hordes of other enemies until you finally summon something called the Prime Evil. You beat that Prime Evil, and, you know, I guess you win that round, essentially. But here's the cool thing. You can deposit little, like, tokens you're picking up into your bank that opens a portal to the other player's side. You can jump through and start assaulting their team to keep them from advancing further than you in the match. You can also see each other, like taunt each other, you know, make fun of them, call them losers, tell them their mom doesn't love them, whatever you want to do. This looks so sick. I mean, it looks like a awesome. And I know, dude, Coop, you're just hyping up the game, dude. I remember when I reviewed Mormine, I literally had people in the comments saying, this guy clearly gets paid by Bungie. You know, and I'm like, bro, okay. If I'm getting paid by Bungie, dude, they're like paying me in sticky notes, okay? They're not giving me anything that's out of any monetary. I was just saying that I thought it was a much funner expansion than the other ones, because it just was. It looks nothing like on the level of fixing the game like this does, but it still is kind of interesting. Anyways, so the last topic here is we have the raid, which they say they're going to have more bosses. They wanted to bring back big monster fights, and they said there will be more bosses in this raid than any other raid, which is awesome because Kingsfall had a lot of cool bosses. So the fact that they're doing that looks insane. It takes place on somewhere called the Dreaming City, and this looks crazy because apparently it evolves as you play through the game. So after the first raid team goes through there, it's going to be changed. Like, this is a constantly cyclical, changing area. So they said the Dreaming City you find in week 1 will not be the same one 6 weeks later. It will be changed. And this is a in-game destination, and they described it as being like the Vault of Glass and the Dreadnought having a baby. Now, I don't understand how. Well, I mean, how does that procreation process? Does a Dreadnought just fly into the Vault of Glass, and that's what starts this whole thing off before the baby can be born? I don't know. That's what the way I would assume this. I doubt, because I'm taking the Dreadnought to be the male gender and the Vault of Glass to be the female gender, because you need those two genders regardless of what you want to say about who you identify as. I don't care if you identify as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. You still got to have those biologically to have the baby. So I'm assuming the Dreadnought did indeed mate with the Vault of Glass. They had this baby called the Dreaming City. This is supposed to be I'm being sarcastic for those of you who cannot tell. This is supposed to be the Awoken homeland, and it's a destination that raiders will change over time. This is awesome, and it's funny that the Awoken come from the Dreaming City, because awake, asleep, awoken, they come from the Dreaming City. That's just, I'm assuming there's some lore connections there that I'm going to have to look up and get into. I may make a separate video about it. But in closing, they said triumphs and collections will be added back in the game, and lore will be, there's like a tab for lore in the game. You can actually advance over time, and you get like a title over your name that would say, like Coop is a badass or something. Coop is whatever. So you can get these new titles by advancing in certain milestones or certain triumphs. The further you get in those, you kind of get rewarded with these titles that go over your player name, which is something really, really interesting. They also are changing pursuits. There's going to be new exotics and armor. There's going to be exotic armor, they said, to hunt, which tells me like exotic quest. They also said so basically, to sum all this up, there's going to be random rolls, armor perks, new mod systems, and new subclass paths. Those are all the big extra stuff on top of all the content that they were kind of fixing, and for the Triumph Collection. That was like the last summary part of this whole thing. Now, if you guys want me to go, talk about any more, I was thinking about even doing a live stream to discuss, individual sections of this because it's so much to go over. But let me know of any questions you have, anything you want me to make a video on, any of the lore you're looking at with this, because I do want to make some lore videos about some of the stuff coming out. But anyways, guys, that is going to be all. Let me know what you're most excited about, because for me, I think it's the weapon changes. I mean, being completely honest, the weapon rolls and the weapon slot changes, I feel like, are some of the biggest changes to the game. But I would love to know what you guys think about this, guys, and thank you all so much for all the support that you have been giving lately. It's been completely awesome. I am having a baby in like 3 days, so I may have to get off for a couple days. And no, it's not me having the baby, of course, I don't think that's physically possible yet, but I'm sure one day it will be. And I'm sure you'll be a sexist if you don't have that baby for your wife. But until that day, she will be having the babies and I will not. So guys, that will be all. That will be all for me today, and I will see you guys next time.